Jelly Roll just told all of MAGA to stop listening to his music.
It hasn't been easy being on this show this week. I knew what kind of a storm I was going to cause, and I was okay with that. Because I told myself I would never be so afraid of being called political again that I didn't say what I know is right. Y'all know why I was raving about the UFC fight at the White House? Because it was awesome. Justin Gaethje pulled off one of the biggest upsets in UFC history. Because I watched a fight on TV doesn't mean I support everything this administration does. Just like hosting Jimmy Kimmel's show doesn't mean I have all of Jimmy Kimmel's politics. Sure, I lean left on some things, but like most folks, I'm pretty down the middle. I am a Christian. I am a country music singer. So for those who threaten to stop listening to my music based on my comments last night, I just want to say with conviction, go right ahead, because I'm going to keep speaking my truth or my name isn't Post Malone.
Well, Jelly Roll, I have a message for you. I will be doing that, sir. I used to listen to your music. I had it downloaded. I loved your songs. I loved your story. But you told half the country to stop listening to you. Because you basically told half the country that they should have voted for Kamala Harris. Because after your divorce, you decided that you wanted to go leftist. I don't know if it's in an attempt to get your ex-wife back. I don't know what your problem is. They had been trying to get you to turn left, telling you need to comment on politics. And you decided to go on Jimmy Kimmel, who hates everything about Trump, to cozy up to people who don't probably listen to your music anyway. Because I don't know many Jelly Roll leftist followers. I don't know many people on the left that listen to Christian testimony. I don't know many people on the left that listen to country music. Most country people might not be extreme MAGA people, but they're Tennessee folk. They're not.
I said I will not put out any video concerning this guy, but this is very important. I want to show you something. During his heartfelt address on Jimmy Kimmel Live, Jelly Roll candidly rejected political tags, fighting back tears as he stated, "I try to speak for the unspoken." He emphasized the importance of unity over divisiveness, urging us to focus on our shared humanity. This is coming after he has been receiving backlash everywhere on social media, and he said on one of that consecutive should stop listening to his music if they feels that he cannot make jokes about the president. Trying to do this to me, it will not work because a lot of people understand who this guy is. He used his mouth to destroy his own career.
You know, these celebrities are never going to get it. Never going to understand that when you start talking about politics, and especially when you start talking about our president, people get turned off. Yeah, I'm talking about Jelly Roll, who had a lot of fans, I'm reading a lot of comments and seeing a lot of videos of how people are disgusted with him because the opening monologue on the Jimmy Kimmel show, because he's hosting the Jimmy Kimmel show while Jimmy's on vacation, and we all know how Jimmy Kimmel is. So his fans weren't happy with that. But then the opening monologue, calling our president names, belittling him, really? Not good. Not a good look. See, a lot of Jelly's fans respected him because he was a child of God, he said. You know, he found the way. He was an ex-felon, ex-con, and he found Christ, and he got on the right track, the right path. And then you get the chance to go host the Jimmy Kimmel show, and we all know how Jimmy Kimmel is. Trump lives in his skull 24/7, 365, and I'm sure there was something in the contract for you to, have that hosting position. Talk about Trump, because it's the Jimmy Kimmel show, because that's all he does. And you did. You betrayed your fans. You betrayed the president. Because I remember back in November of 2024 at the UFC fights, you were there. Trump was there. You were excited to meet him. You were hoping that Trump knew who you were, and Trump did, and he liked your music too. You were posing with him and Kid Rock, and boy, you did a 180 when Jimmy Kimmel came knocking, didn't you? Absolutely disgusting. I'm really glad your fans saw you for exactly who you are.
Conservatives are confused why a man that looks like this will make jokes like this.
Think about this, y'all. In the last few years, I've lost 300 pounds.
This would double down on his jokes that are like this.
I thought fat on fat crime was okay.
I thought MAGA was all about making comedy legal again, and conservatives have a stranglehold on country music. Because for the longest time, country musicians have been liberal, all the way back to Johnny Cash, and even before that, famous blues singers like Leadbelly. Every single one of them have been arguing for liberty, which is a liberal identity. And if you're surprised that Jelly Roll is just carrying on that tradition, you were never a fan of country music. You were just a fan of ice cold beers, big red trucks, and a girl at your arm, which is not country music. That's propaganda.
You know, there is one thing this guy doesn't understand. Nobody is refusing that he should not, speak up his mind. And people are not saying, oh, he has to accept everything this administration is doing. Nobody said that. The way you do it is different. You can go after some of his policies that you disagree with. That's normal. Everybody will understand. Personal attacks. People know how this guy was. He was very fat. Everybody knows that. And along the way, like I see on social media, all thanks to Trump, that he lowers the price of Ozempic. That is what I see. He was able to get that. Him going further to say, oh, I'm rich. It's not about the money. Jimmy is cheap. I don't want to even comment on that. Because to me, it's irrelevant to even be saying things like this. He is trying to make himself like, I'm in the middle, talks a little thing, because that's what he actually did at the end of his show. He talks some little things, good things about the Trump administration, go the other side. I don't agree with everything Jimmy is saying. That is the kind of politics he's trying to play. There is something you can't pretend to be a different person for a very long time. It will always come out clearly, like people will know who you are. For a very long time, people used to look at this guy like he's a changed person. That is what I used to see. People putting out about him. Oh, he's a changed person. He's now like this. He loves Jesus. Those are kind of messages that I used to see. But immediately he put this out, a lot of people have totally switched off on him. If you are a celebrity, you start involving yourself into political talks, you will obviously get this. Yeah. If you see some people always being neutral, not because they are not really, they just want to maintain their base. Yeah. If you choose side, that is a consequence of it. Though some people will say, oh, if you stay silent, you are part of the problem. Because that is the argument that I've seen with a lot of these Democrats saying, oh, celebrities saying they don't have political opinions. They are actually part of the problems that they are struggling to resolve. To me, I don't agree with that. If you don't have knowledge on certain topics, don't talk about it. Yeah, because what you will say might actually cause more problem than good. That is common sense.
How are you feeling about the state of our nation?
I'm glad you asked me that. Thank you. Recent, and I don't know if we're making news here or not. I'm really beginning to sour on this president.
Media. I think I'm going to end here. I want to appreciate people supporting, sharing out the video. God bless you abundantly. So the short clips at the end, that's the white got to take. Always skip.
You know what? Hear about it.
In Hollywood at that time, especially when Obama was president, it was kind of like Democrats ruled, and there were a lot of people that felt like they couldn't say anything.
Donald Trump, who apparently is...
And the Democrats made it a lot easier for them by harping on cultural issues where the country thought they had lost their minds.